so being in the show is a great opportunity for me to sort of call a lot of things from my past and present into my artwork. My husband and I went down to New Orleans after the hurricane in December 2005. It's about 4 months after the hurricane. And I'm sure all of you have seen many intersections. This is what we saw in certain neighborhoods of the city. And after visiting there, I got very depressed because I felt like the place I come from kind of didn't exist anymore. And that, I mean, that sort of cultural sediment that I was raised a part of had just dispersed in a matter of days. And that was evident everywhere that you went, and just the way the city looked. These pictures are from the Night War, which you all have heard of. It's just unbelievable what things look like now. This has been cleared away. But you saw washing machines and trees, and just everything turned really upside down. And I was very affected by this sense of like utter discombobulation in the show. And this is a painting I made soon after. It was for a show I did at Williams College Museum. That after I was making work, it really reflected what I'd seen in New Orleans. It became sort of a vital, engine in my work in a way. It's images that I'd seen. It really kind of imprinted on my mind. This painting, I think, is about weather, for instance. And in a sense, I was living in 2001. I was living on Fulton Street, a short block away from the World Trade Center. And what happened in my mind was that Katrina and September 11th, 2001, and Iraq and Afghanistan all sort of conflated into this one big thing for me. That was I was living in this real disaster area in my head. And I started working very much with using paintings in specific kind of installation situations that had to do with very specific light situations. These are black, fluorescent paintings shown in black. A video installation that was shown was actually before Katrina, involving video like weather and sort of moving painting. This is the installation at Williams College. The paintings were designed specifically for the spaces of the surround space of painting. So I took all these kind of things that I've been working with and applied them to a space I found in New Orleans called the Ideal Auto Garage. So I'm just showing you the images from my proposal. It's an incomplete proposal, and I understand I may not be able to use this exact space, but I'll just use the images as a way to talk about my idea. So it's very typical New Orleans, kind of forgotten space. It's very dilapidated. The light inside is very beautiful. New Orleans has an extremely rich light. And everything's just sort of falling apart, so I really love this. I fell in love with this space for that reason. It looked like art to me, actually. Yes, like the general neglect of the space was very, very attractive to me. So my idea was to place paintings in space and also do sort of more improvisational type work in the space, so I'll painting on walls and develop her, after spending a few weeks in the space. This would be like a silver, by the way, I'm using silver paint in these paintings, and so they, reflect the light and really go bright in sort of kind of light conditions and just sort of die and look very gray in others. And they're all about really the sort of the situation of flux and change or the painting viewing situation. This is a glitter kind of thrown around blue paint on the wall. I started thinking in terms of these sort of placebo paintings. As kind of almost like placeholders in the space for some kind of event or structure to occur, just kind of point to the sort of to be determined state of things in New Orleans, and also to indicate a certain element of loss and mourning that exists in the city. There's a great deal of sort of sadness in the atmosphere there. So many people are gone and are not coming back. And it's all very apparent in traces of like the architecture and infrastructure of the city. Anyway, so when I went to this space, I just got very excited about putting paintings in there and using painting as a way to almost sort of like, as a baffle, just making pay more attention to the sort of very decayed situation, like the paintings that I make, almost like pointing to what is not painting as a state, very akin to sort of painting consciousness of like decay and dilapidation. And then these protest sign paintings that I make in my studio, and I want to sort of place a lot of these around the space to suggest a kind of political dimension to things, and or a need to organize or raise objection to what had happened in response to Katrina, and also as a kind of acknowledgement of all the voices that were raised in protest to especially government's response to the aftermath of Katrina. And so my idea was to sort of scatter these through the space to be like picked up or engaged with it will. What's kind of shocking about New Orleans now is, 5 years later, 3 years later, sorry, is that a lot of the kind of destroyed architecture that you see around is sort of settling in and becoming almost sort of seamless with the urban blight that existed there before. So it's almost kind of like a continuous surface of just very much advanced in terms of years, what would happen if things were left in the state of neglect for another 40 years or something. The previous image was about like almost treating that space like a street, like with the black squares being painted directly on the wall. Almost like the houses that are not inhabited, if it maybe could be someday, again, placeholders or like placebo spaces. So in general, my idea was to use the whole space and not just painting, the paintings in it to articulate through installation a sort of layered and complex image that speaks about the dilemma of New Orleans and its future, its present,